Chosen one, they taught you lucid, but you delivered a masterpiece. You didn't crack it. You embody the composure. They thought they know you. You were silent in chaos. They waited for your collapse. And they wanted to point on you. This is why they're unstable. They were ready to play the victim in their self-scripted drama. You refused to play along. You stay silent. The twist they didn't rehearse. No more draining battles to prove your worth to people who already decided you were wrong. You didn't just walk away, you rose above. And now those who expected your defeat are choking at your stillness. You didn't fall apart. You pulled yourself together in a way that ripped the mask right off. Every battle turned you into a stronger soldier. You as a chosen one, in silence, you build. They tried to destroy your life and make you crazy. The world is crazy. They are crazy. You didn't go quiet because you ran out of things to say. You are quiet because they no longer deserve your words. You stepped back because your growth outgrew their drama. They don't have the key to the door. You gave them nothing. And the truth is loud. Right now they're stunned that you didn't engage, didn't scramble, defend, and fix something you never broke. Your high standards, their low vibration. You refuse to join them in the mud. Suddenly everybody can see the difference. Those who laugh are stuck. Though they counted on your pleas for closure. Now they are silenced. They try to weaponize against you. You didn't have to lift a finger. You let your growth do the damage. People are stunned because you reacted with undeniable dignity, with grace. You set a new bar and it made their dysfunction uncomfortable. You didn't expose them with confrontation. You exposed them with calm. You didn't stoop, you soared. They prepared for war, but you practiced peace like a daily discipline. Butterfly, lucky. They prepared for war, but you practice peace like a daily discipline. You were not here to prove anything. You rise above it all. Remember the old you who over-explained. That version died quietly in pride from its ashes. You don't bow. You don't flinch to nonsense. You won't entertain chaos to feel connected. Now the smoke clears and you standing unbroken, brilliant in your boundaries. Powerful, radiating energy that makes people question every lie that they ever spread about you. You didn't lose. It was all release. You didn't walk away in weakness. You walked away because you finally saw who you really are. The healed version of yourself. And that secret hit harder than any revenge ever could. Your silence became a revolution. How you mastered people lose their hold on you. How your refusal to react became your class rocked the room. They rewrote the rule book. If you're ready to increase your power, elevation over ego, legacy over noise, truths over tactics. They expected the fire, but you are the sky. They brought smoke, you suffocate them with oxygen. They thought you will melt down. Rehearse their roles. You discover something dangerous, real powerful, isn't the noise. It's the stillness that breaks them. They imagine fireworks. You gave them the sky. You outgrew it. While they throw grenades in manipulation and weapons, you found peace in the silence. You didn't respond with anger because they're chaos. Because defense implies guilt. You don't fight fire with fire because true light don't burn. It blind. Nothing rattles a manipulator more than a target that stands unfazed. Their whispers bounce off their whispers. You gave them a vacuum so dark they couldn't breathe their own lies anymore. They count on your vulnerability for their ticket to control. They assume their weakness. The only thing stronger than manipulation is refuse to dance to its rhythm. Watch the volume drop. Manipulators thrive on reaction. Control wants someone else's pain. You refuse to echo. You walked away, and now it's dead silent. It was a tragedy. You have to stand calm. Silent preparation, emotional mastery, calm during the storm. You are doing the same. Why didn't you fight back? You refuse to take the bait, engaging with lower the standards you demand of your life. Fight against them. Their noise don't matter. Clarity over chaos, elevation. There's a kind of comeback in your presence, not bitter revenge, but walking through the world. The words bounce off. Their false stories crumble. Every step you're taking dignity, every boundary you uphold in silence is a wrecking ball against their empire. For so long they drew lines for you. You don't need their permission to exist. You don't need their approval to shine. They pressed on you, expecting to pull your strings. Instead, you cut them and took flight. You climb higher. You are the bird. Unpredictable. They can't rewrite your story anymore because you rewrote the ending yourself. You didn't react. It's your book. You didn't crumble. You evolved. Let their disbelief fail you. Let their confusion show their cowardice. While they built towers of your old self, you built a sanctuary on the quiet strength of your new one. You aren't their puppet. You are the sovereign who walked away, teaching everyone a lesson, an unseen power. Hold your silence, guard your peace. That calm is your sharpest weapon, sharper than any sword. Stay in the sky. Let them choke on dust. You're not out of their reach. You changed the atmosphere that once confined you. They brought smoke, but you didn't just survive the fire. You are the sky it could have filled. They weaponized your old self, but that version is dead. You came prepared for betrayal, expected you to burn. You met them with ice. They showed up armed about who you used to be, over-explained, over-gained. That version of you is buried. Now you are a ghost. They walked in drama, only to encounter peace, forged in battles they never understand. This growth was earned deep in chaos, built in the dark. You didn't find this calm in a weekend retreat. You carved it out in survival mode. You stopped bleeding for people who kept wounding you. You stopped proving your worth to those committing to misunderstand you. The death of the old you, it's a liberation. They have memories of the old you, not because they miss you, because they miss the control they had. Their attachment was to their access. They thrived to gaslighting and guilt trip you that once run circus through your mind, calling it love. Now they left holding weapons that don't work on who you become. They showed up with emotional knives. You respond with the frequency. You walk out of the battlefield. This isn't you turning cold, it's you being healed. Growth makes you immune to energy you outgrown. That's what's rattling them. They planned for a fight, but got self-respect, spiritual distance, and silence. Psychological warfare. You didn't use rice, you removed their oxygen. They went quiet once you start replying. How awkward things got when you refused to play their emotional chess. That's not guilt, that's grief. They are mourning the power they had over you, not you lost. You don't live in that space anymore. You move, and they can't follow. They'll accuse you of changing when all you done is evolve. If they still see you as the old version, let them fight a ghost. Let them rage. Let their echo chamber, it holds their own assumptions now. And here's the twist. Your grace isn't weakness. Your calm isn't surrender. Your silence isn't permission. It's graduation. This season isn't about stooping. It's about soaring. Emotional bait no longer works because you no longer hunger for their approval. Think about icons, leaders. They choose dignity over drama. Their legacy shine in the quiet. They don't have time to argue with people on the streets, people who don't know shit. You didn't run, you heal. Your healing speaks volumes even when you say nothing. Let them talk, let them distort, let them claim you flipped the script. Yes, you did. You upgraded, detached, and reclaimed your story. And you won't apologize for refusing to shrink back into a version that made them comfortable while you were dying inside. You're not playing their game anymore. You own the board now. And that's something they never trained for. They're chosen ones. Your love inspires us. And we motivate. And we lift people up. And they came against thinking that they own you, that they can play games. You are not to be messed with. Your quiet wasn't a sign of weakness. It was your move. You were busy making noise. Your step, they read your silence as surrender. You were watching them falling into their own traps. You didn't duck confrontation. You controlled it every time they held. You let the chaos reveal yourself. That stillness is your edge. When you choose not to react, you turn their outrage to an echo. Each moment you stayed composed, they lost strength while you gained it. A public showdown, a chance to show their victory over you. Instead, you gave them the weight of your calm and it crushed their illusion. This is how true power works. It doesn't announce itself with voice. It observes in silence. They built their plan on the idea that you explode. You built your on knowing when to stay silent and when to strike with your gauge. You starved the narcissist by removing the thing they lived for, your attention. You took away their stage. Their spotlight went dark. You didn't argue or justify yourself. You didn't try to fix the story. You simply withdrew your energy, your applaud, your validation, your care. Their entire performance collapsed. A narcissist's power isn't theirs. It's borrowed from you. They feed on your reaction, your empathy, your confusion. Each time you defended yourself, they grew stronger. Each tear you shed made them feel in control. So you cut off the supply. You walked away. Without you engaging, they have no fuel, no audience. Now they are left scrambling. Going down, desperate rumors to lure you back in. You outgrown their drama, toxic systems, and came back better. They discovered their authority in silence. That's exactly what you done. You unplugged their circus and reclaim your power. Let them starve in the dark. You got your light back. The most powerful explosion was your non-reaction. You didn't fight, You expose their battlefield by abandoning it. You refuse to play the villain in their story. Defend yourself to people who already decided you were the problem. Instead, you step back, calm, grounded, unwavering. And in doing so, you change the scenario. The best move is no move at all. They pretended on your outrage, but when you didn't provide it, their entire plan. Manipulators thrive on drama. They hope that you burn so they can point and see, look how unstable he is. But when you stand silent, it backfires on them. Everybody saw it unfold. When they flare in desperation, you remain composed, your dignity intact. That contrast is their humiliation. You didn't need any revenge, you let their own behavior. This is mastery, allowing the situation to collapse under its own weight. You handle it like royalty because that's who you are. Royal don't argue with the crowd. They claim their throne by acting like it's theirs. You didn't stay silent out of fear. You stayed silent because you know your worth. Fear and elevation. You stood on the higher ground. You cast dignity. They tried to gaslight you. You gaslight back with your presence. They threw shade. You remain calm. They fed your disrespect. You let it choke them. You didn't stoop to defend yourself. You rose and make you silent. Speak as a royal. You don't need to demand respect. You have respect. You're calm. They hope to knock you off balance. Instead, you prove that your authority is within you all along. Your emotional maturity is a superpower they never saw coming. They tried to pull you into their storm with guilt trip, fake tears, rehearsed manipulation. They wanted an explosion reaction, not a solution. Instead of melting down, you mastered the moment. You became the eye of the storm. You didn't numb yourself. You clarified your emotions. You refused to let their baits sweep you off your feet. You locked down your core, kept your peace intact, and refused to let their chaos become your drama. That choice, emotional discipline over emotional warfare, is the definition of true strength. It frustrates manipulators because control only exists when it's a reaction to exploit. No reaction means no leverage. You watch them spin out and keep you centered. That's emotional intelligence weaponized, seeing the storm for what it is, standing steady and walking away when it's not yours to fix. You didn't just handle the fire, you transcend. The world was watching, but you became stronger. Your testimony. They expected you to crumble in public, to share your side of the story with screenshots and receipts. You let the silence tell the truth when you move through betrayal with lies, disrespect, with your head held high. It speaks volume. People notice grace more than loud arguments. They saw who needed a spotlight, but you already have the spotlight. Unwavering, stoic. No argument can never dim. The same voices whispered, thinking you disappeared. The narrative they tried to bury is alive again. Perfect timing. Your silence was a beacon, guiding everyone to see who caused the chaos and survived it. You didn't lose anything. You revealed anything, everything. They think that you will beg for answers or closure, but you didn't come crawling back. You moved on. What they didn't count on was walking away. You gained the highest perspective. They lost access to your energy, your forgiveness, your presence. And without you, they are dying. Empty theater, no audience, no applause, no relevance. You escaped with your soul intact while they stuck. You don't hold to a lie that needs to keep you alive. Your truth is exposing them in real time. People are recognizing that the one who walked away in peace was never the problem. No closure statement, no final explanation. Your growth Your calm and your radiant next chapter did the talking. As you look back, you see how much you tolerated, how many red flags you painted over, how many times you sacrifice your own comfort for theirs. Your peace is not found in other people, it's protected from them. You don't grieve their loss, you celebrate your freedom. You realize you weren't the one missing out, you were the one they couldn't handle. And now, from your place of clarity and elevation, you're free to build something new on a foundation they never deserved to stand on. Your journey mirrors those who turn their pain into power, whose departure fuel legendary comebacks. You're not merely healing, you're illuminating everything they tried to hide. You're doing it without pointing fingers, without a word of blame. Your evolution is your evidence. Your peace is the judgment they never escape. You didn't lose a thing, you escaped it all. And what you gain now is clarity, elevation, alignment. No apology can ever revive them. Your unshakable confidence. They play dirty, you moved with grace. They throw stones, you built the mountain with the stones. This is divine strategy. When they throw mud, let it slide off. Dirt may stick, but true brilliance shines forever. You didn't retaliate, you responded with results. And now people are learning from your example. You become the measure which others gain their own strength. You turn your triumph into the lesson that resilient is worth more than any provocation. They believe your absence from the battlefield will prove your weakness. Instead, it revealed their own irrelevance. Your silence was their downfall because they thrived from your engagement. They thought if they cut you out, they watched you crumble. By walking away, you reclaimed your ground. You didn't lose access to your power, they lost access to you. And without your energy to prop up their narrative, you left. They couldn't follow, and your world carried on without them. They expected you to be defeated. What they didn't see was your exit, was victory. By refusing to respond, you show that true authority doesn't spark, it stands quietly. You turn pain into position, and pain into higher ground. Your silence into universe of self-respect. Others are watching and learning that you don't beg, you don't explain, you don't defend yourself to people who only wanted you to misunderstand you. You rewritten betrayal into clear boundaries. You didn't just close the door. You built a fortress on land they can't reach. Now you're thriving in the ruins they tried to bury you under. Think. Still I rise, not with anger, with the elegance nobody can mimic. Nelson Mandela from prison, with a presence so powerful he transformed a nation. All the people who rewrote the narrative. You elevated the standard for yourself. You are the energy shift. You are the threat to the outdated system that once strived on your submissiveness. Now the system is crumbling. We own the system. Our evolution, our growth. We don't sink to their level. We rose so high, their stones can't reach us. We are on the mountain. You render them irrelevant. We don't need assistance validation. They didn't end us. They ended their own relevance. You're not just still standing, you're soaring, seen and unshaken. You simply didn't walk away, you climbed, and everybody's watching you ascend. Their bets was placed on your bet down. They timelines on your collapse. They whispered predictions of your downfall. Instead of chaos, you delivered consequence. They counted on you staying wounded, reactive, small enough to contain, but you didn't crack, you evolved. Your silence is unstoppable. Level up. It didn't disappoint them. It also showed that they have no power. When somebody's entire identity wants to keep you beneath them, your growth becomes their undoing. You never asked for this. You don't chase for revenge, you chase peace. And that peace spoke louder than any of their poison. They couldn't fathom that your silence could be a sentence. Your grace, your glow up, your spotlight illuminating everything of their shadows. You are the sunrise in the storm. Your growth, it shook their lies, cracked their mask, and forced everyone to inspect the contrast of who you become and who they thought you were. Think of those legends who let their life rewrite the narrative. People rose from heartbreak by shining. People transform personal pain into a cultural legacy. You're now moving in the high vibration. You're healed. You're chosen. You end cycles. And you are doing so. You are becoming the mirror they can bear to look in. They can't rewrite your timeline, manipulate your trajectory, erase the evidence of your ascent. You are the evidence. Mastery, it's not about fleeing the storm. It's about learning to glide through it, untouched, calm, calculated, elevated. This isn't the old you they once baited. It's your final form, one that no longer bleeds to prove it's a lie. You walk through fire without the cinch. They thought silence was surrendering. Class, elegance is weak. You learn to bend without breaking. When they finish their performance, you step off stage with an unbreakable spirit. Mastery don't denounce itself. It moves everything around it. When you enter a room now, the energy shifts. People feel it, notice it, respect it. Even the ones who swore they never were. They tried to use your name. Your name written in gold. You are the show. They mocked your growth and your peace. The universe is preparing blessings on your behalf. Now those rewards are publicly. You're not just surviving, you're ascending. Your opportunities, the ones you begged for, landing on your feet because you stopped pleading and you started to embody your worth. When you became who you always meant to be, the universe take notice. They call your rise lucky, but it was mastery all along. They never built anything without leaving destruction. You went the other way, build a sanctuary of peace. You kept your soul intact when there were countless reasons to strike back. Think of leaders who embodied this truth. They never trade their integrity for validation. From violence to champion education and peace. Mastery, rising above dignity. Learning from every wound without letting it define you. Walking away without needing to explain why. They tried to measure you by their standard of chaos, but you played chess while they fumbled checkers. They wanted a reaction, but you became the response, a living proof that true elevation is real and that the universe rewards its fighters in peace. At this level, it's not about proving them wrong, it's about proving yourself right. It's about seeing your own reflection clearly, unclouded by their distortion. Once you do it, you become untouchable. Do not doubt where you stand. You didn't flee the storm, you are the storm.